Welcome the night and its dreams. The sun sets softly over the rolling hills of Wladfa, the Welsh colony nestled in the heart of Patagonia, South America. A faint mist drifts through the valleys, carrying the scent of eucalyptus and wildflowers. Seren, a young dreamer with chestnut hair, sits on the wooden porch of her little stone house, her eyes fixed on the distant mountains. The only sound is the rustle of leaves and the gentle hum of her father's harp drifting from inside. Its melody is like a lullaby, weaving through the cool evening air. Seren hugs a woolen blanket closer, feeling the first chill of night. "I wonder," she whispers to herself, "what secrets these valleys hold." As the stars blink into existence, Seren lights a small lantern filled with fireflies, her nightly ritual. The tiny creatures twinkle within, casting a soft golden glow. Guided by the light, she begins her quiet walk toward the riverbank. The path is lined with low stone walls, and sheep drowsily wander under the milky sky. Each step feels like a heartbeat, slow and rhythmic, syncing with the pulse of the earth beneath her feet. The whispers of the wind seem to carry stories of those who once crossed these lands in search of a new home. The river glimmers under the silver moonlight, flowing lazily through the valley. Seren dips her fingers into the cool water, watching the ripples spread like rings of starlight. She feels as if time slows here, as though the world itself is drifting off to sleep. A heron swoops low, its wings brushing the surface of the water. The stillness of the moment wraps around her like a warm embrace, and for the first time in days, she feels truly at peace. Beyond the river lies the forest, a place Seren often visits in her dreams. Tonight, it feels alive, the trees swaying gently as if nodding in welcome. She ventures inside, her lantern casting dancing shadows on the moss-covered ground. The soft hoot of an owl and the chirping of crickets blend into a harmonious lullaby. Seren finds a clearing and lies down on a bed of soft ferns, staring up at the canopy of stars above. The fireflies, freed from their lantern, float around her like tiny glowing guardians. She closes her eyes, the earthy scent of the forest filling her lungs. Somewhere between wakefulness and sleep, Seren feels herself being carried gently, as though by the forest itself. In her hazy mind, she imagines the trees whispering stories of her ancestors who traveled from Wales to this faraway land. When she opens her eyes again, she's back on her porch, the lantern beside her dimmed to a soft flicker. The stars above seem closer now, their light wrapping her in warmth. As she drifts into slumber, the harp's melody carries on, weaving through her dreams and lulling the entire valley into peaceful rest. Deep in her dreams, Seren finds herself sitting beside an ancient oak tree. Its bark is rough but warm, and its roots stretch deep into the earth, like veins of wisdom. A soft voice calls her name, not in the way people do, but in the way the wind whispers to the leaves. Before her appears an old woman wrapped in a shawl woven with the patterns of Cymru, her silver hair glowing faintly under the moonlight. In her hands, she holds a small book with a cover made of pressed flowers. "Seren," the woman says, her voice like the rustle of autumn leaves. "Do you know why this land feels like a dream?" Seren shakes her head. The woman smiles and opens the book. As she reads, Seren sees images forming in the air. The ships that carried Welsh settlers across the sea, the struggles they faced, and their dreams of a land where their songs would never fade. "This is Wladfa," the woman says, "a place born of hope and yearning. Every star here carries a wish made long ago, and every time you dream, you hear their echoes." The vision fades, and Seren finds herself standing on a bridge made of light, stretching across a starlit lake. Each step feels weightless, as though the stars themselves are lifting her higher. At the end of the bridge stands a figure she cannot quite make out, but she feels no fear. The figure holds out a hand, offering her a single feather. It glows faintly in the darkness, soft and comforting. Seren takes it and feels a warmth spreading through her, as if she's carrying a piece of the stars with her now. "Hold on to this," the figure says, their voice both familiar and distant, "and it will guide you whenever you feel lost." As the first light of dawn begins to creep over the horizon, Seren wakes on her porch. The fireflies are gone, their light replaced by the gentle hues of sunrise. She still feels the warmth of the feather in her hand, but when she looks down, it's no longer there. Instead, her palm holds a faint shimmer of stardust. Her father steps out with a steaming cup of tea, smiling as he notices her glowing expression. "Dreaming again?" he asks, though he already knows the answer. Seren nods, wrapping the blanket around her shoulders. As she sips her tea, she looks out at the valley, now bathed in golden light. She feels a deep connection to the land, its history, and its dreams. The river flows, the sheep graze, and the wind carries the faint sound of a harp's melody through the air. The world is waking, but Seren knows that somewhere, in the heart of Wladfa, dreams and reality are one and the same. And so the sleepy journey continues. Carried on the wings of a feather, the glow of fireflies, and the soft hum of a harp in the distance. As the day unfolds, Seren notices something unusual in the air. The morning breeze carries whispers, not random murmurs, but rhythmic words, like lines of an ancient poem. Curious, she sets out toward the river again, following the sound. With each step, the whispers grow clearer, weaving a melody she's certain she's never heard before, but feels she's always known. When she reaches the water's edge, she notices a small piece of parchment caught between the reeds. Pulling it free, she sees faded ink scrawled in a hand she doesn't recognize. "Seek the tree that listens, where shadows and light meet." Seren's heart races. The oak tree from her dream flashes in her mind. Could it be real? She glances toward the forest, where sunlight filters through the canopy, creating patches of shimmering gold on the mossy ground. Guided by her memory and a strange sense of certainty, Seren ventures into the forest. The air is alive with the scent of pine and damp earth. Birds chirp softly, as if urging her onward. After some time, she comes upon a clearing. There, in the center, stands the oak tree from her dream, gnarled branches stretching skyward like arms in prayer. Seren approaches hesitantly, feeling as though she's stepping into a sacred space. She places her hand on the rough bark and closes her eyes. For a moment, all is silent. Then faintly, she hears it, a heartbeat. Not her own, the steady, ancient pulse of the tree itself. Suddenly, the wind picks up, swirling leaves around her. Within the rustling, she hears a voice, not the woman from her dream, but deeper, older, and full of wisdom. "You have found me, Seren," the voice says. "Long ago, your ancestors sang to the stars, planting their dreams in this land. You carry their songs in your heart." The tree's bark begins to glow faintly, revealing a small hollow in its trunk. Inside, Seren finds an object wrapped in a cloth as soft as silk. Unwrapping it, she discovers a delicate pendant shaped like a star, its center pulsing with a gentle light. "This," the tree's voice continues, "is a shard of their hope passed down to you. Wear it close, and it will guide you to your path, just as they were guided to this land." Seren places the pendant around her neck, feeling its warmth against her skin. It hums softly, matching the rhythm of the tree's heartbeat. She feels a surge of emotion, pride, belonging, and a deep sense of purpose. As Seren steps back into the clearing, she hears a song rising from the forest around her. It isn't just the wind or the birds, it's the land itself, singing in harmony with her heart. The melody follows her all the way back to her house, where her father is waiting. He looks at her and immediately notices the glow of the pendant. "They found you, didn't they?" he says softly, his eyes misty. Seren nods. "I think I've found them too," she replies, touching the star at her chest. Her father takes her hand and leads her inside, where the harp sits waiting. Together, they begin to play, the notes weaving into the valley's song. That night, Seren dreams again. This time, she sees not only the valleys and rivers, but also the faces of her ancestors, strong, determined, and full of hope. They smile at her, their voices joining hers in a song that stretches across generations. When she wakes, the pendant still glows faintly, a reminder that the dreams of the past are alive in her present. She steps onto the porch, watching as the first rays of sunlight bathe Wladfa in golden light. Seren knows her journey has only just begun. With the star's guidance, she feels ready to uncover the stories hidden in the valleys and to sing her own song for the future. The days pass, and Seren's life feels imbued with a new light. The pendant never ceases to hum gently against her chest, as if it's alive, pulsing with quiet energy. One evening, as she watches the sunset paint the hills in hues of amber and rose, the wind changes. It's no longer soft and familiar. It carries an urgency, a tension that tightens the air. Seren looks toward the distant mountains and sees dark clouds rolling in. But they aren't ordinary storm clouds. They shimmer faintly as if laced with silver threads and move unnaturally fast. Her father, standing at the edge of the porch, narrows his eyes. "That's no weather I've seen before," he murmurs. "The mountains are stirring." "The mountains?" Seren asks, clutching the pendant instinctively. Her father nods. "Long ago, they called them the Watchers. The settlers believed the mountains held spirits that watched over this land. But when the balance is upset," he trails off, his gaze heavy with unspoken worry. That night, as the storm looms closer, Seren lies awake in her bed. The pendant grows warmer, and its light pulses brighter than ever. She sits up, her heart racing as she hears a faint whisper. "Seren, come." The voice isn't outside, it's inside her mind, soft yet insistent. She rises, wrapping her shawl tightly around her shoulders, and steps out into the cold night. The wind howls, carrying with it the faint melody of the harp. Her father is already waiting by the door. As if he knew this moment would come, he places a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Follow the song, Seren. Trust the light." Guided by the glowing pendant, Seren finds herself climbing the trail that leads toward the mountains. The path is steep, the wind fierce, but the light of the pendant pushes back the darkness. As she reaches a ridge overlooking the valley, she stops. The storm clouds have gathered fully now, swirling in a chaotic dance. Lightning flashes, illuminating massive stone figures carved into the mountainside. They are ancient and weathered, their faces stern and solemn, their eyes closed. But as Seren watches, one of the Watchers' eyes flickers open, glowing with the same golden light as her pendant. A deep rumble echoes through the valley, shaking the earth beneath her feet. The voice of the Watcher booms in her mind. "The balance is fragile. The dreams of the past grow restless. Do you bear the light of hope, child of the valley?" Seren lifts the pendant. Its light brightens, casting warm rays onto the stormy sky. "I do," she says, her voice steady despite her fear. The Watcher's eyes glow brighter, and the storm seems to pause, as if the very air is holding its breath. "To restore harmony, you must enter the heart of the mountain," the Watcher says. "There the songs of old are trapped. Free them, and the land will sleep peacefully again." The mountain opens before her, revealing a dark cavern that hums with an eerie resonance. Seren hesitates, but the pendant's warmth gives her courage. Inside, the cavern is alive with sound. Echoes of ancient harp melodies and voices swirl around her, growing louder with each step. At the center of the chamber lies a crystalline pool, its surface rippling with light. Above it, a swirling vortex of silver threads traps the songs in an endless loop. Seren approaches the pool, the pendant guiding her hand. She holds it aloft, and its light spills into the vortex. The trapped songs slow, their chaotic energy softening into gentle harmonies. Closing her eyes, Seren begins to hum, a melody her father had often played on the harp. The pendant amplifies her song, weaving it with the trapped voices. Slowly, the silver threads unwind, releasing the melodies one by one. The cavern fills with a radiant glow as the songs, now free, rise toward the surface, escaping into the night sky like shooting stars. As Seren steps out of the mountain, the storm has vanished. The air is calm, the stars shining brighter than ever. The Watcher's face is serene, its eyes once again closed. The valley below is bathed in silver moonlight, and the world feels still, whole. The pendant dims, its work done, but Seren feels its warmth lingering in her heart. She descends the mountain trail, her footsteps light. Back at the house, her father waits with the harp in his lap. He smiles as she approaches, the glow of peace reflected in his eyes. "You've done it," he says softly. Seren sits beside him, and together they play a new melody, a song of balance, of dreams fulfilled and harmony restored. As the first light of dawn washes over the valley, Seren knows this land will always hold its magic, its dreams cradled by the Watchers and carried on the wind. And she will always be its guardian, a keeper of its songs. And so the journey of dreams becomes a tale of courage, whispered across the valley in every note of a harp and every flicker of starlight.